the poise of Jesus. From then on, no one dared ask him any more questions. Mark 12:34. Jesus' poise refers to the balance and harmony of his abilities and personality. It's like when a boy balances a cane on his hand or rests one end of it on the tip of his finger. With practice, he can hold the cane perfectly upright. This balance is achieved when opposing forces counteract each other, allowing a person to stay calm in the midst of life's challenges. This equilibrium is primarily a result of having a well-balanced set of abilities. However, it's uncommon to find individuals who are well-rounded. Most people have imbalances, being stronger in some areas and weaker in others. When a person's body is asymmetrical, it elicits sympathy. But the lack of symmetry in the mind is even more common. We all tend to be overdeveloped in one aspect of our nature and underdeveloped in another. It's difficult to maintain a balance between our faculties. If we are enthusiastic, we often become fanatical. If we are emotional, our emotions can turn into hysterics. If we have a vivid imagination, we may become flighty and impractical. If we are practical, we risk becoming boring. If we are courageous, we can become reckless. If we are cautious, it can easily turn into cowardice. If we are unique and original, we may become eccentric. If we are empathetic, we may become overly sentimental. If we focus on obedience, that focus may lead to self-righteousness. If we are religious, it may slide into superstition. Every virtue, when taken to excess, becomes a vice, and every positive quality, when overdeveloped, becomes a flaw. Look at the people you know. How many of them have a well-balanced disposition? We often think, if only they had less of this, or if only they had more of that. There always seems to be something missing to make their character truly ideal. But when we turn to Jesus, we encounter a man who is flawless. He is passionate and enthusiastic, but never goes to extremes. He is emotional, and we can feel his heart beating, but he remains calm. He has a vivid imagination, filled with poetry and music, bringing light to everything he touches. However, he is always grounded and practical, never boring. His life is filled with an exciting sense of romance. He is courageous, but not reckless, and wise without being afraid. He is unique, but not strange, and sympathetic without being overly sentimental. His tender heart pours out sympathy to those in need, but also unleashes anger towards those who do evil. He is devout, but does not show off his piety. The fake piety that is often portrayed in books is nothing like his genuine and strong faith. He is deeply religious, but never falls into superstition. Because he is so well-rounded and complete, people have trouble categorizing him. What was his temperament? It's impossible to say. Everyone who encounters him finds what they need. He possesses all virtues, and none of them are exaggerated. He displays all the graces, and each one is in full bloom. He stands in history as the epitome of beauty, balance, and perfection. His extraordinary balance of powers allows him to maintain unmatched composure in his actions. He constantly faced challenges and opposition, but never faltered. People tried to set traps for him, but he confidently walked through them unscathed. Intellectual opponents attempted to trip him up, but failed. His enemies did their best to unsettle him, but could not succeed. They threw their ropes at his head, but never managed to ensnare him. They dug pits for him, but he never fell in. Wherever he went, enemies waited to catch him in his words, but they never succeeded. They asked him all sorts of questions, hoping to incriminate him with his answers, but he never fell into their trap. They presented him with dilemmas, thinking they would catch him one way or another, but he always escaped. After trying their hardest, they left defeated, while he remained the undisputed victor. This incredible composure was displayed by him at the temple when he was just a 12-year-old boy. The older men he sat among were amazed by his answers. As he began his public career, he encountered tempting voices in his ears. The evil one repeatedly approached him with enticing offers, but each time he resisted by quoting the appropriate scripture passage. People tried to accuse him of breaking the Sabbath law, but he swiftly proved, using scripture and reason, that his actions were justified. Even when interrupted during his preaching, he remained unfazed. When a man demanded that he settle a family inheritance dispute, he immediately responded by questioning his authority and warning against greed. At Philippi, when Peter protested his impending death in Jerusalem, Jesus recognized the voice of Satan, even when it came from a friend. Speaking through a friend is one of the devil's tactics, but it could not deceive Jesus. On the last Tuesday of his life, his adversaries conspired to bring him down. All the different factions joined forces and devised plans to have this young prophet arrested. The Pharisees approached him with a treacherous question: "Is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar?" It was a cunning question. If he answered yes, he would be despised by patriotic Jews, as they believed it was wrong to contribute Jewish money to a Gentile treasury. If he answered no, he would be seen as a traitor by the Roman officials, who could swiftly take action against him. What would he do? Holding a coin in his hand, he asked them, "Whose image and inscription is on this?" When they replied, "Caesar's," he returned the coin and said, "Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give to God what belongs to God." The conceited Pharisees dared not ask him any more questions after that. Then a scribe tried his luck, asking about the greatest commandment of the law. Jesus responded, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, and love your neighbor as yourself." "But who is my neighbor?" the scribe questioned. Jesus then told him the parable of the priest, the Levite, and the Samaritan who encountered a man on the roadside. After sharing the story, he asked the man, "Who do you think was a neighbor to the man who was attacked by robbers?" The scribe stopped questioning him after that. Eventually, he was captured and brought before Caiaphas, and the prophet's remarkable composure bewildered the high priest. Unable to do anything with him, Caiaphas sent him to Pilate. Pilate interrogated him and became afraid. What a sight! The Galilean prophet standing tall, calm, and unyielding, stating, "I was born for this purpose and came into the world to testify to the truth." Witness Pilate, trembling and evading, washing his hands and declaring that he wants nothing to do with such a man. Jesus possesses composure, while Pilate, representing the eternal city and serving a ruthless empire, lacks any composure at all. Interestingly, despite speaking publicly for 3 years, Jesus' enemies never managed to catch him in his words. When they finally convicted him, it was based on a fabricated lie. It's important to note that none of Jesus' enemies were able to make him say something unfair or false, or put him in a bad mood out of hatred. Most people are easily influenced and can be pushed into speaking or acting in a cowardly or unkind way. However, Jesus was so well balanced that even when faced with the most hateful insults, he remained strong and unmoved. His balance was divine. Because he is so well balanced and composed, every generation looks to him for inspiration. Isn't it amazing that people in the first century saw him as the ideal example of a man, and that people in every century since then still see him the same way? Intellectual individuals seek his guidance and wisdom, emotional individuals seek his inspiration, and those with high aspirations sit humbly at his feet, recognizing that he has the words of life. Now, with new and complex issues arising in business, industry, and society, people are turning to him, hoping he has the answers to unlock all the doors and lead to a complete and perfect life. He carries a grace that never fades, a sanity that demands respect, and a charm that captivates and wins hearts. Like previous generations, we humbly kneel before him, acknowledging that his character is flawless and his life is without a blemish.